Hi. In the verbal ability section of an aptitude test, they ask different types of questions. So today we'll have a look at sentence errors and sentence completion. So let's start with sentence errors. So as you can see, you need to spot the sentences and the errors which are grammatically incorrect. Okay, so a sentence is given and it's divided into 4 parts. So one of those parts would contain an error. Sometimes they even give an option of no error. So you need to choose the correct one. Okay, right. As you can see in this slide, there is an example given. So as it says, only in the interest of establishing clear lines of communication between the state governments and central government has the President acceded to its demands in regard to the tariff dispute with the latter. So as you can see, it's one sentence divided into 4 parts and they are asking you to choose the error. Okay, so the next slide contains the answer and the explanation is also given. So it says that the error is in the 4th statement. I'll go back to the previous slide and let's see what's actually wrong in the sentence. Okay, so it says over here that the problem is it's, as you can see in the second paragraph. Instead of that, it should be there. But why? Let's go back and have a look. So as you can see in statement D, that is the 4th part of the sentence, it says its demands in regard to the tariff. So what is its referring to? As you can see in the B section, it says establishing clear lines of communication between the state governments and central government. So the subject is state governments and the central government. So obviously this is a plural. So plural cannot take its. You need to use their. So that is the grammatical error in this sentence. So you need to choose D. Okay. So like this, we'll have a look at a few more examples. Look at this. Although most of its land is uninhabitable, Alaska is larger than any state. So they have given a 5th option which says no error also. But then they have given the answer as D. So here you just cannot compare any state to Alaska. Alright, they are comparing Alaska to all the other states in the country. Okay, so that's the reason instead of any, you need to put any other state. Okay, so that's the error in the sentence. Let's have a look at one more. The members of the jury was unmoved by the defendant's plea for leniency and returned a verdict of guilty. So in this particular statement, you can see that the subject is the members. But you might think, since they have mentioned jury, you might think that is the actual subject, but the actual subject in a sentence is members. So for members, you cannot use was, since members is plural, so you need to use were. Okay, so were is the correct answer. So you need to choose A as the error in the sentence. Okay, let's have a look at one more. Due to an accident on I-285, John missed a meeting with an important client. Now I-285, you must be wondering what it is. It's actually a highway. So it's an interstate highway. Alright, so all interstates are marked with I in the US. But then coming back to the sentence, due to an accident. Now you need to remember that a predicate adjective such as due to cannot be used to start a sentence, right? So please remember this, you need to use because of. So that's the error in the sentence. Let's have a look at one more. If she would have spent more time studying than she did partying, Jane might not have had to attend summer school. Okay, so they say that A is the issue, and in the explanation it says a conditional statement, if clause, takes a past perfect verb. So you need to put would have spent is what is mentioned, but then if she had spent is what is the actual answer. All right, that's how you should write the sentence, because in a conditional statement you always need to use had. You need to use a past perfect tense, had spent. Okay, right. Let's have a look at one more. The writing workshop had fewer attendees and the most problems than any other event I attended at the convention. So they say B is the problem, because here it is using the most problems, whereas which is in the superlative form, right? So when you're talking about a writing workshop and you're talking about any other event, you are comparing two things. You are comparing a writing workshop to any other event. So since you have only two things, you need to use the comparative degree, which is more. So you need to say and more problems than any other event. That's the issue over here. Okay, coming to sentence completion. Okay, this is another type of question asked in the verbal ability section in an aptitude test. So sentence completion is nothing but a fill in the blank type of a question, where you have a blank in the sentence, and they give you 4 or 5 choices. You need to use the suitable choice which fits into the sentence in a logical manner. All right. So as you can see, the first sentence that's given over here is, my grandmother never tried to hide her prejudices. Unfortunately, she was always a dash racist. So prejudice means bias. All right, so taking one particular side. So since it says over here that the grandmother never tried to hide her prejudices, that means she openly criticized people, she openly took sides. But then it says, unfortunately, she was always a, probably, the blank should contain big. I mean, since she took one particular side, obviously she becomes a racist in terms of maybe taking sides, maybe in terms of color or caste. All right. So in that case, you need to use blatant. Blatant means obvious. All right. So that's the suitable choice over there. Again, when it comes to multiple choice questions, you can always eliminate. So as you can see, bitter, you cannot be a bitter racist, because racist itself is a negative word, and again you need not use bitter with that. Obviously you cannot be a tolerant racist as such. What's tolerance got to do with a racist? Covert is shy, so obviously you cannot be a shy racist. And then subtle means soft, mild. All right, so obviously a racist cannot be a mild racist or a big racist or anything like that. So a blatant racist is the most suitable over here. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this sentence says, my physics professor gets off topic very easily. She spent most of today's lesson on a completely unrelated dash about her favorite TV show. So it says the answer is B, and the explanation that's given over there, it says tangent is an abrupt change of subject that does not pertain to the original topic of discussion. Right? You can relate tangent to even maths, where in a circle you any line touching a circle is called a tangent. So obviously it's not related to the subject. I mean, subject, if you compare it to maths, I mean, circle and tangent, totally different things. So obviously when you see the sentence over here, it says she spent most of today's lesson on a completely unrelated. So when it's going to be unrelated, obviously it's got to be a tangent. Tangent is something off topic, right? Does not pertain to the original topic. Okay, so that's the most suitable option that you can choose. Okay, let's go to the next question. I fell off my bicycle and landed on some sharp broken glass. As a result, now I have several dash. Okay, so obviously this guy fell off the bicycle. There was some broken glass, so it means that he might have gotten hurt or gotten cut by the broken glass. So let's see which option is most suitable. It says A, but you might not know the meaning of lacerations. But maybe we can use elimination methods over here. Now, if you look at option B, analgesics is some kind of a medicine. So, analgesics obviously won't fit into the blank over here. So does surgeries. I mean, surgery, a person falls down on some broken glass, unless it is extremely severe, I don't think anybody would require a surgery at this point of time. And similarly, contusions and aches obviously do not refer to a few cuts that can be caused on your leg or anything because of sharp broken glass. Lacerations actually means cuts on the skin. So that's the most suitable option that can fit into the blank. Okay, let's have a look at the next option. Okay, it says the governor refused to give the criminal dash. He faces execution tomorrow morning. Okay, so obviously, the logic of the sentence is probably the governor, since the second part of the sentence after the semicolon says he faces execution tomorrow morning. Okay, so how is this connected to the first part of the sentence? The governor refused to give the criminal what? Maybe a pardon, right? So answer it says over here is D. So the governor did not give any pardon to the criminal. So he was anyhow going to go ahead with the execution. So that's the logic of the sentence. Some people may think that trial would be more suitable. That is option A. But then the result of a trial can be positive or negative. But here it clearly states in the sentence that the governor did not want to give this guy any leeway. All right, so he did not want to excuse him, and he wanted to go ahead with the execution. So the best answer over here would be a reprieve or a pardon. All right, let's have a look at one more. Now this is something new where you have two blanks. Okay, so there is a possibility of having only one blank in sentence completion, or two, or maybe even three blanks. So here it says the city remained dash for years after the hurricane's destruction. Efforts to rebuild were largely dash. So what we can understand from this sentence is there was a hurricane which destroyed the city. So after that, maybe they tried to rebuild the city, but then which would be most suitable over here? So from the choices you can see that the city remained desolate. All right, desolate in the sense there's a lot of destruction that happened. So it remained in ruins. That's what desolate means. And efforts to rebuild were largely abortive. That is, abortive means unsuccessful or fruitless, as you can see in the explanation. So they probably tried to rebuild the city many times, but there was no use because there was huge destruction caused by the hurricane, and it was probably highly impossible for them to rebuild the city. Okay, so option E is the most suitable. All right, let's have a look at one more. Until the police were finally able to dash it, the security camera's footage was blurry and inconclusive. They later used the images to dash the criminal. So obviously there was security camera's footage which was blurry and inconclusive. So if an image is blurry, you would probably want to, you would have seen a lot of movies, you would probably use some software to enhance or make the image better. So that's why A is the correct answer. And as a result, when you see something clear, you can identify the criminal, right? So it's a fairly simple question and which has a simple answer. So that's one more sentence completion question, and that's the session for today. Thank you very much. So I hope you would have gotten an idea of how to go about sentence errors and sentence completion questions. Thank you.